It's cold even where I live in New Orleans, and it is very cold. I'm very out of sorts. So walking through Zoom, if you notice I'm going to be going back and forth. I'm going to be sharing my screen, so you'll see a lot of the designer, and then I may take it off of share, and I'm going to walk you. I have like actual printed books that I will show you and walk you through. We'll also take a couple of moments to answer questions. And the way to ask a question will be to raise your hand. And the way you do that is at the bottom of Zoom, you see a little man with a little plus. If you click that, you can say raise your hand, and it brings you to the front of the screen so that I can see you and you can ask a question and I can answer it for you. And so does everyone type in the chat if you can see the reactions? If you're good to go there, just say, yep, yes, thumbs up, anything. We good? All right. Oh, look, Linda, that was good. Thank you. Awesome. If you want the chat, it will either show up at the bottom and say chat. Some of it's hiding. It's on that for me. If you go to the three little dots, click that. There's a chat. I will try to pay attention to the chat. I cannot always have 100% eyes on it. If again, I most likely will answer all your questions. If there's a question that doesn't get answered, support@createmycookbook.com, and Carly or Heidi, will you pop that in the chat so that everyone has it? Feel free to ask. Another really great resource for you. I'm going to pop this in the chat as well. We do have a closed group. It's a Facebook group. If you're not a part of it, do join it. What's great about it is it's people who are also working on their cookbook. You can ask questions, help one another. I think this morning I saw someone was like working on a wedding cookbook and just wanted ideas. And then other people were jumping in and giving ideas. And I think what a great community. So if you're not a part of that Facebook group and you have Facebook, that's a really great place to be. If you have a super unique question, like you're having something weird with your book or anything, support@createmycookbook. And that brings me to the next part. I want to take a moment to introduce you to Heidi and Carly. They work in support and they're answering your questions, and they're amazing. I want to give Heidi a quick second to say hello.
Hi there, everybody. It's nice to get to see your faces.
Yes. So Heidi used to be a teacher, and then we kidnapped her for the better. No, she's amazing. She used to be a teacher, so she has really good at explaining things, or and showing people exactly how to do things. She just has the knack for that. She's got two really sweet kids. One's in karate and one's in ballet. So you guys, a lot of you have been there. She's doing she's working and taking them to their lessons, and she's just an amazing person and a really great person to work with. We also have Carly.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Looking forward to connecting with you all in support and in our Facebook group.
Yes. Carly is, as a mom, if my daughter can grow up and be as sweet and kind and loving as Carly, I have done something right. She's an amazing woman. She's super bright. She loves to thrift, and she's really good at decorating. You guys can see the wall behind her. Like, she did that. That's all thrifted. I keep hoping that she's going to just show up at my house one day and redecorate. So two amazing women. They're amazing to work with, and you guys are so lucky to have them in support because they are here to help you in their journey. All righty. Power off. Get started. Heidi and Carly are gonna thank you. Feel free. They're going to be answering your tickets.
Power on.
Yeah. So one thing, if you don't mind, unless you're asking a question, keep it on mute. Can we mute all real quick? Okay, keep it on mute. That way everyone can hear each other. When I do take a moment to answer questions, then you can unmute and we'll get through it. All right, guys, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pop it in chat. If you can't get to it, it's okay. But I have a cookbook checklist that I've made for you guys, and this is going to be something that you can use. It's like super, super great. Actually, let me show it to you on my computer because you can see it in color. I printed it, but it's black and white. So first, let me share the link. Let me grab that for you now. And then we're going to be working from this today, but let's pop the link in Zoom. Here we go. If you click that link, it should open the PDF. Keep this. If you can't get to it, it's okay. I'm going to send a replay email. I will send it in there as well. And so you can print it out at home. It's a really great resource. So let me share my screen and take a quick second to show you everything that's in it. And we're going to work through from it today. All right, share screen. Let's get started. All right, oops. All right. And other feedback I had on my survey was to make sure I kept my screen really not too cluttered because it was hard to see. So someone call me out if it gets too busy and you can't see everything. All right, guys. So this checklist, we're gonna have everything. We're gonna go over cover design today, and these are the things that you're looking for when you're designing your cookbook. We're gonna go over your recipe, the content in your book, and then what you're gonna be looking for when you publish to purchase your book. I've also included a design cheat sheet. You don't have to use this. This is just if you want a little inspiration for designing, just some ideas that are super easy. And we're going to go through these as well for covers, for font pairings. We'll go over that as well. And then I threw in a few of popular colors that we're seeing that look really nice, especially on the covers. And I even included, this is called a hex code, and I will show you how to use it. You can copy and paste or, just type it in and get this for your background color. We will go over that shortly, giving you some ideas on how to make those section dividers really pop, look really nice and look really clean. We will go over these as well. And then just the personal touches. If you have stories, if you have photos, how to make your family cookbook just really, really sing. We're going to be going over all of this today. So I'm going to take 2 seconds, stop sharing and get ready. We're going to jump in. We're going to start. So if you have your checklist, again, if you can print it out, that's great. It'll be a great place to start. Let me pull up a book. So I'm actually starting with a book that I've done in the past. And we're going to work from there. So I'm going to share my screen. So we're going to start with cover design. First thing you want to do with your cover, there's a couple of really simple, quick things that you can do that makes a stunning, stunning cover. The first one is just go with a family photo. And what's great about this is it's nice, it's personal, it's beautiful, and then you can throw in like either another photo on the back or just go with a background color. So here we've started is I've just pulled a family photo. If you can find a photo that has this negative space, the blank space right here, it's great because then you can put your title and it looks really nice. I do realize that sometimes you can't always find that photo. So let me show you a couple of other quick little tricks that you can use if your photo is a lower resolution, so it doesn't quite work to fill the whole space, or two, you don't have a blank space for adding that text. So this photo works great. A couple things that I'm going to point out is we don't want any faces in here, but we want the photo to fill in all the way. So I like to use the fill so I know that it's filled in all the way. But for example, when I first started, I kind of had my nephew here, his face was cut off. And so I want to make sure that his face is within the safe zone, and I'll check my proofs as well. But I do want like the image to go all the way to the edges. That way I don't have any weird like lines or things. When we go over proofs, I'll go a little bit more in detail, but that way I don't have any like white stripes or background color bleeding through. But if this looks great, I could go with this and move forward. But if I had an image that I wanted to use, and I had one of my daughter eating pizza, I thought would be a really cute cover. And when I uploaded it, I realized it was a little bit too low of DPI. And the DPI is the dots per inch. And that's just because honestly, I think it was taken with my mother-in-law's phone, and then like she sent it to me, and this photo has just been all over the world. So I was like, oh, how would I use this to create a cover? So one thing I could do is if I made it a little bit smaller, now we have no issues, and I could go with a really pretty background color. So I would come down here to the drop down, pick a background color. I just used one of the ones that I gave you guys. This is the blue. And when I was saying those hex colors that you can grab, let me grab that real quick. if you grab that color, the code that's here, and just copy it or type it in, doesn't matter. You can just pop it right here and hit, whoops, erase and pop it in, and then the color will appear. You can also, there's a little color picker, which is great. You can move it around. That's a great color. So if I wanted to make a book, say for her, I want to change the title. I can make this look really, oops, misspelled her off. And then I can make it really pretty by adding the background color, putting the photo, and then I'll come in with a third line of text right here and say something like love mom and dad. And I can make that, change the font to black, bring it under the photo. This is a beautiful cover. It's great. It's fantastic. I could do that. So you could do a large cover, covers up the whole space, put your text on top of like some negative space. You can do a background color, insert your photo, add some text, select a font there. One thing you want to do is make sure that your spine background matches the background that you've selected on the front, and make sure that your spine text, make sure that sometimes if we play with the titles, make sure that the text is the same as unless you want it different, which is totally fine, but I don't. So make sure that the text is the same as your front cover. And the last thing to do, let's save that, is make sure that the back cover matches. So if you had a background, and this, I think you can go with just a plain, the same color, or if you wanted to add some text there, that's fine as well. So those are 2 photo ideas. Another really beautiful, simple, easy way to make a stunning cover is to use stock photography. So one thing that you can do is if you go under pictures and go to stock photos, you can search, and I like to search with the terms like baking, and you'll see these really stunning, beautiful stock images. What's really nice is look for an image again that has that kind of negative space like here that you could put a title. This would be, well, that one maybe not so much. Let's see. Just scroll through here, take a look. That would be really pretty because you could put a title there. This would be really pretty. This one I've used personally, and it's a really nice cover. We'll use that as well. You're going to see that it says $1.50. That is, we're going to grab it. I'll grab it. Heather, I'm going to answer your question, I promise. All right. So it says $1.50. That's $1.50 when you go to order, and it's a one-time charge. It's not per book. It's just once. So, but I'm going to select this one. Import. And I'm going to see how I've filled the whole image and got a little bit coming off the side. I'm going to change this back to kids and family favorites. There we go. And if I wanted to kind of play, I can, we can fill the image, and then I can move it just a little bit so that I have space for my title. And there we go. And if I wanted text, I can have it, or I can just get rid of it. One nice thing, for example, I'm going to change this to like a kind of a green. Well, let's go back. I think actually the black looks nice. Playing with the colors is nice. And you'll see I'm getting this warning right here. Let's see. Make sure you fill. Again, there's probably a little tiny white strip. Make sure you just hit that, fill that image so that you're not getting that strip. And so I do want to check, since I've changed my spine text to make sure it's matching the text that I am using on the front cover. All right. So those are 2 really simple, easy, beautiful cover ideas. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and take a moment and answer any questions about cover design that might help you guys. So if you don't mind, raise your hand. We practice that. Raise your digital hand if you have a question about cover design. And let's see. let's see. I'll take a quick second to look at the chat. How do I get from the screen? Anyone have questions on cover design? Spine text. Oh, okay. Karen, great question. What is spine text? That is the text that it's going to be on the side of your cookbook, like this. Right here. That's spine text. So you want to make sure, I just like to make sure I have to, but I like to make sure that the font on the front of my book matches the font on the side of my book. And it's the same color, just for consistency purposes. All right. All right, guys, I'm going to keep going unless we have any questions about cover. Are we good? Thumbs up emoji for good. All right. Thanks, Betsy. She's paying attention. All right. Let's keep going. Let's talk about recipes now. All right, I'm actually gonna, I've pre-filled this book. I'm gonna pop over to another one that I got ready for us. Uh-oh, oh, I see you, Velma. Did you have a question on,
Yes, on the cover, right.
you're the cover.
How
all
did
right.
you get to that screen that
Yeah.
you were working with?
Yes, ma'am. Let me show you. All right. See here, this little edit icon. Let me make this back to where you can see. See the edit icon right there?
Okay, yeah,
So when I click that, now I've got the tab for pictures and I can do the design.
okay, all right.
Okay. Yep, awesome.
And so do you have to, so you can change this picture size? I saw you do that. Okay, that's
Yes, ma'am.
fine.
Yeah,
All right.
so if you wanted to make this one smaller, I would just, zoom in and I could bring it in and make it smaller.
Okay,
All right, fill my image.
okay,
back.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, guys, we're going back to recipes. Last chance on cover. We good? All right, back to recipes. I have a few minutes at the end that I can stay if a question pops up.
I had
Yeah, go ahead.
a question on the cover. Can you do a full bleed on the cover if you upload an image?
Yes, that's what we suggest. So when you, that's the reason I was saying, like, if you're going with a family photo, make sure not to have like the nephew or your grandkid or baby, kid's face on the side, because it is going to wrap. So that's the importance of. Okay, I see, Heather. You can't raise your hand because you're on your phone. Okay, if you have a question, just unmute real quick and you can. Yeah, we'll get to you. But yeah, yes, ma'am. That's the full bleed. And if you do the background color, like I showed you, it's going to be full bleed. It's going to fill in the whole background. So it will wrap. You'll see, it'll wrap all the way. This one has color. It wraps all the way around. Awesome. All right, Sunny. Hey, how are you? You're muted. Oh, Miss Sunny, you gotta unmute. I can't hear you. Miss Sunny, you're still talking. It's muted. Gotta go to the bottom and hit mute. Your Zoom is muted. No? Okay. I'll give her a second to figure that out. We'll come back. All right. All right, back to recipes. Here we go. All right.
Excuse me, this is Heather. Heather Ross. I just unmuted myself. How did you even get there? I have been trying to figure out how to do any of that stuff. And I just keep getting the cookbook designer tour and it's driving me nuts. I can't get past it. And I don't know how to get to what you've been describing at all.
Okay. So you're getting the tour and do you have a blank book when you log in?
Yes, I've got my book up right now, actually. And I'm
Okay.
hitting show later on the tour because I've read it now 1,000 times and I'm tired of it.
Right. Is there a little pencil icon to the right of your book?
Yes.
Okay, click that pencil icon. And that's going to get you into the cover designer.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
That's okay.
I
We got
see
you in
it.
there. Yeah.
Thank
There you go. Of course.
And the other question is, how were you able to upload photos? When I uploaded photos, I just get an extremely distorted digital picture. It does not look at all like the photo I actually uploaded.
do me a favor and reach, that sounds like there might be like a browser issue or something strange. Do me a favor and reach out to support at Create My Cookbook, and they'll take a look at it for you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. All right, guys, we're going to move on to recipes. And again, if I have time at the end, we'll save more questions for covers if someone has one. All right. So a lot of you in the last few weeks have submitted recipes with We Type It, which is awesome. They're in your recipe box now. If you haven't submitted it, I'm not going to spend too much time going into recipe submission because last camp we really dived into that, but I will give you a quick review and we'll move in there. All right. So when you're typing your recipes, there's a few ways. Let me grab in here. There's a few ways to enter recipes. You can enter them directly into the book by hitting the plus icon and adding a recipe page. My favorite way to add recipes is working from the recipe box because there's a little magic trick that I'm going to show you that will build the book out really quickly. So if you go into the recipe box, hit add recipe, you can add it. You can either type it yourself, it's in your head. If you have recipe cards like I do, you can use We Type It. You just snap photos of the recipes, and we have real humans that type them. And you don't worry because everyone's like, oh, they can't read my handwriting. They're very good. And if there's something they can't read, what happens? You do get a moment. You get to review it. And you can edit it. So I just find that it takes having someone else type them for me, and then I can go in and just confirm and look over everything and make sure it matches what's on the card is so much faster than me sitting to type it. So this is my favorite route. If you're working with friends and you can invite them with the contributors link. And you can just copy and paste it, text it to them, email it to them. And it'll send them a form that they can add the recipe, and it will appear in your recipe box. If you have a big Google Doc of recipes or PDF, you can use import my recipes here. So those are getting your recipes in. Once your recipes are in your recipe box, a few things that I like to check. One, I want to make sure that all of my recipes have a category. And I want to make sure that those categories are consistent. So, and I'll give you an example of a mistake that I've made myself. I have some of my recipes that are desserts with an S, and I have some of them that are dessert without an S. So you can do things in batch action. And so if I wanted to select and like clean things up a little bit, make sure everything matches, I could just select all the ones that say desserts. I can even filter based off of category, and I can batch action and assign them to a category so that I've got all of my categories nice and clean. If I need to do a one-off, I could just double click. Let me show you. Sorry. I could double click that recipe and just update it right here. Another quick thing to note when you're working with recipes, if you edit in the recipe box, it updates in your book. If you edit in the book, it updates in your recipe box. So it doesn't matter where you edit the recipe, in the recipe box or in the book, it's going to be updated in both places. So once you've got your recipes in, you've got your categories, you're ready to start a book. You can either you can hit this right here, grab all the recipes. I have a ton of recipes because I've worked on multiple different books. I can just grab the recipes that I want for this particular book. You'll see I've just grabbed some to show you, demonstrate. So what I can do now is hit batch action, add to book. You can select a layout. I like to use the long recipe page with numbered steps. The reason I like to do this is any of our layouts that have numbered steps, they will continue on across 2 pages. If you have a lot of recipes and you're trying to cram as many as you can, you might consider starting with 2 recipes per page. You may have to break some of those apart just because they might be too long, they won't fit together, but this will give you a really good starting point. So for this one, I'm going to start with the long recipe with the numbered steps. I'm going to hit next. insert, create pages. And what this is going to do is it's building the book for me. It's inserting both the section divider and all the recipe pages. So we'll give this a second to work its magic. And if you've started and you're already in your book and you have some in your book and some in your that aren't in your book, you can filter based off what's in your book and just add the rest as well, using this method. And you'll see this is an example of a really long recipe that I had, and it's went across a couple of pages. I actually probably need to look at that one. All right, so I've added my recipes. The next thing that I like to do, I like to go to arrange pages, and I want to go ahead and make and move them in an order that I would like. I will tell you guys, it's very funny. I've worked with tons of people working on cookbooks. Most women like it in order of kind of like how we do our day. And me too. I like to start with breakfast, and then I like to go in and do like sides and entrees, appetizers if I have that section. So I'll go breakfast, appetizers, sides, and soups. And we have desserts, and I'll put, there we go. I'm going to show you guys how to fix that in just 1 second. You guys see, I told you I had desserts and desserts. I didn't check it. If it's a guy, they always do it in alphabetical order. It cracks me up every time. They're like, no, they go in alphabetical order. Like, oh, okay. So just however it fits your heart's desire. I'm going to hit auto arrange, and it is going to auto arrange. What it's going to do is pull all those recipes that belong to each of those categories. So now I have my breakfast, and I've added the recipes there. I've done the appetizers, the sides, the soups, the salads, the entrees. And you guys remember I told you, see, I had a mistake right here. I'm going to just double click and go to this guy. I'm going to hit edit. I'm going to go to the recipe. I'm going to take away that S. I didn't want the S. There we go. And hit save. And now I can just delete this extra page that I had. All right, so now my book, I'll have my recipes in my book. I have organized it in the order that I want my section dividers. And the next thing that I can do, and I'm going to switch back over to my other book, but the next thing that I can do is I'm going to want to flip through the book and make sure that the layouts work. So we're going to start, so I purposely put a few things that I know you guys, errors that you guys are seeing, so that we can work through it. So you can, again, I talked about editing. You can edit in the recipe box, or you can edit here. I like to take a look at my recipes here. Something about seeing them laid out on the page makes it really easy for me to see if there's been a mistake, and I can make those edits. So a quick flip through the book, make sure your recipes are, there's no errors, anything like that. And if you had things overflowing, so you can flip through and take a look, and you'll see. I know I stuck one in here so that I could show you how to handle the overflowing recipe. Where's that? I think it's in desserts, so it's way back here. There it is. Okay, so if I had two recipes, and see, I'm getting this warning right here. And if you click the warnings, it will tell you exactly what's going on. This is an example of where I have these two just aren't going to fit. They're really, they need to go on separate pages. So the easiest thing for me to do right here is add a page after, select a recipe page, and just take that second recipe. And you guys can watch, I'm just selecting the layout, going to recipe, existing recipe, it's the ginger cake. You'll see it's telling me, hey, it's on another page. And I'm saying, it's okay, I'm moving it. So I'm gonna say, yes, move it. Hit next, I'm gonna hit save. So now it's over here, and then I'm gonna change the layout for this one to be a layout with the numbered steps. So now I've got both of them across. The other thing that I'm looking for when I'm taking a quick, pass at my recipes is I'm looking for things like bad character warnings. And so what I want to do is if I see this, hit edit, go, you can go to the recipe. It'll show you where the recipe warning, what the issue is. Some of the fonts don't support the 3/4, so there's a couple options. I could just go 3/4, or I can make sure to review the proof and make sure that the font that I choose supports that. So I'm gonna hit save, and now that warning's gone. I'm gonna stop here for a quick second. I'm gonna answer questions about recipes, and then we're gonna get into the really fun part, the designing and adding all the fun, pretty stuff. So, Belle, do you have a question?
Yes, I was gonna ask, at the very beginning, you had, you chose like a layout. So how do you change it? So say for instance, I want a picture on a certain recipe, but then I don't want it on the next one, on the next page or something like that.
Yeah.
How do you go about changing that?
I'm about to answer that question really in detail, so I'm gonna wait because we're gonna go through and I'm gonna show you how to change the layouts, how to change the fonts, how to add the photos, and I think if you still have questions, raise your hand again after we go through the content.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
sounds
thanks.
good. Oh my goodness. Hang on, I'm gonna say it right. I mispronounced it last time. Okay, hang on. Beryl? No. Say
Beryl.
it again. Oh,
It's like Meryl with a B.
Meryl with a B, Beryl.
You got it.
Okay. I even wrote it down because I was like, oh gosh, I can't believe I mispronounced her name. How are you?
No worries. So
Good.
if you've got a whole bunch of recipes in your recipe box,
Yes, ma'am.
and let's say you're going to create your cookbook for the first time. So you go through, the whole routine and you dump them all into the book and they get organized and you work on it. And then you put more recipes into your recipe box. How do you make sure when you start to move them over that you're not duplicating what you already moved?
Yeah, let me show you that really quick. That's a great question. And make sure I'm answering it fully. So in this book, I'm just going to pretend the first thing that I would do is I would filter by what's not in the book. That way I can see only the recipes that aren't currently in the book. And let's just pretend that I wanted to add these 4 recipes to the book that I've already kind of laid out for the most part. So I'm going to select them. I'm going to hit back section again. I'm going to say add to book. Select my layout. And then what I'm going to say is to make sure you can have 2 options. You can say add it to the end of the book, or I can say put it in the sections with the section divider. So that way it goes into this, it's putting it in the correct section with its section divider. And hit next, and I can create, and I'll just go ahead and create them. It'll go ahead and insert those recipes for me.
Well, that's easy enough.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
All right.
you.
Velma, do you still have a question?
Yes, to add. Oh,
can
you said
you-
Velma. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Velma, I'll come back to you, Velma.
Okay. Can you change the font throughout?
Yes, ma'am. We're about to talk about that. I'm not going to answer it right now because that's
Okay.
next on my list.
And what font do you find is the most popular?
So good news for you too. If you click that, I've given you our most popular, the cheat sheet. I've given you the most popular font selection, so you can just use
Okay.
those. You don't have to think about it. Just you can look at it and say, which one do I like the best? How does it look good? And just pick those 2.
Well, I've got you. If you've created the cookbook on your phone,
Yes, ma'am.
is that an issue? I mean, is it better to do it on the computer?
I find it's a little bit easier to do on the computer. It's just easier to see. You can do it on your phone. People do it all the time. For me, it's just a little bit easier because of how much content you're having.
The
I
size?
find it yes, ma'am. It's a little bit easier, but a lot of people do it on their phone and they don't have an issue. So, yeah. All right. Miss Linda. Yeah, we gotta hit unmute. There you go. Hey. I don't know. There we
Got
go.
a really quick question. We have some great grandmother recipes handwritten.
Yeah.
Can those be imported just as like a PDF or a JPEG or something like that?
Yeah.
And then maybe transcribed for easy use because they're
Yeah.
difficult to read.
I will include that in the replay email that I send, but we have a really great article and it talks about that. And what I love is a lot of people do this. They'll have all the recipes done with We Type It. And then what they'll do is they'll have the recipe on top, and then they'll take the image, the JPEG of the recipe and put it underneath. So you're having the typed and then the handwritten, and they're really beautiful books. So yeah, and with the next section that I'm going into, the content and the design, I will show you exactly how to do that. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Belle, back to you.
Okay. Let me see if I remember the question. It was Beryl, when Beryl was asking about putting different recipes in the book. And you just did the last 4 and put
Yeah.
them in the category that they belong in. So when we do a PDF and we upload all of that information, will that system know, hey, this is soup section, this is brownies, this is the brownies go into dessert? How will it know?
It will try its
Where-
best. One thing is you're gonna, if it's not, doesn't have a category in there, you may need to go in. And again, you had talked about, editing a little bit, you may need to go in and make sure you've added that category.
Okay, and then once you get those in the right spots, say for instance, we can shuffle them around, right? The order we want them in that section.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and
Let
then
me-
if we're trying to put the same, say for instance, we don't remember which one we clicked, it won't let us put the same recipe in the book twice. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like if I've already clicked it and
Yeah.
it's there, will it somehow won't show right there?
So here's
Or
what's gonna happen. Let's pretend like I'm trying to add buffalo chicken again. Actually, that's not a good one because I have 2 variations of it. Let's do the cream cheese spread. So let's pretend like I want to add it again. Let me show you what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna go to
Okay.
recipe page. I'm gonna go recipe, existing recipe, and I'm gonna cream cheese, and I must really like cream cheese, guys. All right, so do you see how it has the line push
Okay.
dash through it? That's telling you this is already in the book. And if you
Okay.
flip over it, it's like the recipe's already in your book. But if I clicked it still, because I was like, no, I want to do this, and I say yes, it's gonna remove it from that other page. So you're not gonna have that issue.
Okay. That's all I got, I think.
Yes, ma'am. I got you. All right.
Hi, this is Martha on the phone. How much do you worry about copyright?
So when you enter your recipes, per our terms and conditions, you're saying that you have permission to use that recipe. And you're giving us permission to print it on your behalf. I
Mhm.
can share that information with you and if you
Now,
that would
I've
be.
seen that, but then I was researching it, and it says like recipes aren't really copyrighted. I mean, because recipes are basically copied and pasted from people through the generations and whatever. So they say there's a lot of stuff on, I mean, like, because I take a lot of my recipes off Google or whatever, and then they're my family recipes, whatever. I don't even know the source half the time, or they get passed to me without a source. So I just wondered, what's your
So a list
practical
of
advice?
ingredients isn't copyrightable. You can't copyright like a list of ingredients isn't copyrightable. It's just a list of what you use. So that that you're that part, but you definitely want to, I can share the terms and conditions. You want to make sure that you're just not copy and pasting off the internet. But if it's your family recipe, it's something you've used, and you're telling us we have that permission.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. All right, Kristen, I see you. I'm gonna spend 3 more minutes here. Here's what I'm gonna do at 12:45. I'm gonna get into the design because that will bring us to the 1 o'clock hour. I have 30 minutes that I can say a few things at the end, but I want to make sure we get through everything for people who need to make this hour. But I'm gonna answer one more question here and then I'm gonna come back around. All right, Kristen, what can I answer for you?
I think it's really quick. It's just how do you delete recipes from your recipe
Mm.
box? I thought you just clicked on it and then there was a delete button, but I don't have a delete
So,
button.
the first thing you want to do is make sure it's not in your book.
Yep.
And then the next thing you want to do is come to the recipe. I think this is one I could delete this. Well, not that one. Come into the what's going on here? Two secs. I don't know what I've got. Usually there's a delete button in here.
Yeah, that's what the YouTube video said. But then when I
Yeah, it
went in
usually
there,
is.
it's not.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. I will find out afterward. And again, when I send that replay, I will put some
Christina?
information in that. Yeah.
Sometimes it won't let you delete it if it's in another book on your account, not
That's
even
what
the
it is.
active
You're
book.
right. Thank you, Heidi. That's what
No
it is.
problem.
I have it in another book. So I'm wondering if you have it in another book. Now I've got to find one. I have so many books.
This is my first book. So
Okay. Do me a favor, email your, typically there's a little delete button. So email your to support and they'll take a look and see what's going on.
okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there's a little delete button.
I know, that's what I thought.
It is. All right, guys, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna go into the really, really fun part, the designing and content, and then I'm gonna come back around for questions. All right. Oops. All right. So we've got our cover, we have our recipes, and next kind of decision, and we talked about this as fonts. I like to go ahead and make that decision kind of early. I mean, you can change it at any point, but the reason for that is if I get in too deep and I decide to change a font, the fonts are slightly different and they can change things, so they can make things overlap or move just a smidge. So if you do change a font, just take a quick flip through your book and make sure you haven't done anything too crazy. So if you go to the design part of the checklist and design cheat sheet that I've given you 4 of the most popular font pairings. They're beautiful, they're stunning. I've confirmed with the design team that they are appropriate because I'm not a
Where's
designer.
the cheat sheet?
I put it in the chat, but I will send it to you. Whoops. Again, 2 secs.
In the chat, you're gonna send it in the chat box?
It's in the chat and I'll send it in the
Email?
in the email as well, but I'll pop it in there again for you so you have it.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Back to sharing my screen. All right, so I'm gonna go with, because I've used it on the front color, the lobster. I think it's a fun font. And then I'm going to, so what I'm gonna do is I like to use it. This is kind of like fun, a little bit bolder. If it's a script, I want to use it as the header. Then what I want to do is I want to go with something that's really easy to read for everything else. So I'm going to use Montserrat, and it's just really, really easy, clean to read. I want to make sure that my styling is for all pages. This way, any page, it's going to update. So I'm going to hit save. I'm going to do it on my cover page. Oh, this is not, excuse me, my title page. Also, make sure that, just a little quick note, make sure your title page matches your cover. Sometimes if you keep changing the title, you might forget to change the title page. So just take a quick peek. I'm going to come in, I'm going to change the dedication. If you don't have a dedication written, there are some really great, let me save this really quick. There's some really great example text that you can use in here just to get you started, and you can edit it if you would like. But they're really great and really sweet. And I'm going to change the content to the Montserrat. And then the last thing is I'm going to change, and I like to just go through and do it all at once to make sure I don't have any section divider. And again, I'm leaving it for all pages. The only time I want to use this page only is if I was trying to make a change, like for example, if I had a recipe that was really big and I wanted to keep it to one page, like it was just barely falling off, I might drop the text, the size of the text down just one, and I would do this page only. But the 99% of the time I'm working with all pages. So you'll see this one's already updated. I'm going to change this to Montserrat. And again, you don't really want to have more than three fonts max. Some people like to make their notes or the yield section a different font. Totally up to you. And hit save. One thing to note about font size. If you can read a newspaper comfortably, that's a size 10 font. So you want to make sure this is actually a little small. I want to keep my fonts at least a size 10. I sometimes go a little small just because it's not a big deal on the recipe by this section right here. That's okay. But the ingredients and the instructions, I want to keep that as a 10, at least a 10. And if I'm doing it for someone, I think I've showed everyone my mom's book I made for her. She wears reading glasses and hates having to wear them in the kitchen. So I did really, really big fonts for her. But a lot of the pet recipes I had to go across 2 pages, especially for a larger recipe. That's a quick note on fonts. Right. Alrighty, so I'm gonna hit save. My fonts are all consistent. They're really pretty. Again, use that cheat sheet. Those are really pretty fonts. They're really great. The next thing I know you guys were talking about was layout. So if we're working from the book that I showed you, our book where we uploaded the images, they're all the same font. Let's see. Excuse me, all the same layout. If I wanted to switch these out, if I wanted to add photos, all I have to do is come in and hit edit, layout, and then I can change the layout and start adding the photos. I've done that in this book here, but I want to show you, so just give you guys some inspiration. Some things that I've done is I've added lots of family photos in the book. And for like, if I had 2 recipes that were small, I would try to mush them together on one page. And then for everything else, I've done a combination of different layouts, depending on the picture. So to add the picture, I've hit the edit. I've gone to layout. I've selected the layout that I want. To add a picture, I come here. And if I want to add family photos, I'm hitting add photo. You can either do it from your computer, and you'll see, you'll just select it, hit open. And it will upload into your pictures.
Will it tell you if it's not the right size or format?
You will get a little warning over here if it's too low of DPI. It's a little less concerning inside, because what you could do if you're getting one that's got a really low DPI, you can change it. See these layouts with the small images? Those are really good for images that are low DPI, because now it just makes it smaller, so it's less to worry about. If you click the image, you can hit fill image, which fills in the whole space, or you can hit fit image, which fits the whole image in. You can also zoom in and out in that space as well. We also have, we talked about this on the cover, there's stock photos. And you can search based off of ingredient, which is really fun. You can search based off of the recipe. Sometimes there's something that looks really close. And that's a really fun way to add an extra dimension to your book as well. And some people choose just to have recipes, and that's totally fine as well. And they just want to go with the pages that are only recipe, just there's no photo. A lot of people like to include photos of the recipe card. And I know we talked about this earlier. So what they'll do is go with a layout like this. And I think this was you, Linda. We'll go pick it. What's really nice is see the photo with recipe with picture on the bottom. This one works really great because then you can just grab the recipe card. And I feel like I used to have one. I'm going to add that for our next cookbook camp. I'm going to make sure to have a recipe card image. But you could grab the image of the recipe card and we'll just pretend like all these people are recipe cards. And so you have the recipe and then you have the image of the recipe card. And so it looks really, really pretty.
So you don't have to worry about the resolution of those cards, I guess. I feel like almost every photo I load into, they're directly off my photos, they all come low resolution, but I would think that a lot of these recipe cards would definitely be like that.
On the recipe cards,
I mean, like I'm taking a photo of the recipe card.
are you getting the warning?
Yeah, I'm getting a warning on almost every photo I try to import or whatever you call it.
Okay, so definitely take a look at your proofs and maybe even print them to make sure it's not, if it's just a smidge, you're probably okay, but definitely print them and make sure that if they're printing really blurry and you can't see them at home, because you can print your proof, it'll have a watermark, but you can print it. So print it and make sure that it's not blurry. There also, when you go to order your book, especially if you're ordering multiple, maybe I would suggest ordering one proof just to see it printed, and then you
Yeah.
could order the rest.
That's sort of what I was gonna do, but I was just
Yeah.
surprised at the magazine. I called one time and they told me I actually needed the cover design, which should be done in some third-party app like Canvas and then move it
If you're
over.
wanting something a little more with graphics and your like example, I'll share. I made this one in Canva because it's got like lots of graphics in it, and you can do that. But again, I think it's not necessary, but if that's the vision that you're going for, you can create it absolutely and upload it as an image. But again, to me, like this is done with a stock image, and then and so those look really nice.
Okay.
But yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about go back to talked about font. Let's talk about section dividers for a quick second. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks to make your section dividers really sing, kind of like the cover. And then we're going to take a minute and answer more questions. Oop, we're almost at the 5-minute mark. All right, move fast. If you want to add just story pages or photo pages, hit the plus, go before or after, and you'll see we have photo pages, that's what this is. And then you have story pages, which are great for if I can even show you. This is just a story page. I've added a little memory to my husband's grandfather, and I just added a story page, put a photo. So it's just a nice little touch. All right, back to section dividers. So a couple of really fun ideas as far as you can go with just stock images which is what I've done here. Use stock images and use the layout that's the full image and you could change the font if it's easier to see. And that makes a gorgeous section divider. If you want to go with family photos, I think it's really cute to go with the half image because a lot of times the family photos can be really busy. You can grab the family photo, go to design, hit save, and that's a really cute, pretty section divider as well. A third option, and this is really simple, if you wanted to just go with a plain pattern and do it the same across every section divider, that's really pretty as well. And again, you can go to stock. We have a couple of stock patterns in here. We also have, if you go to the stock photos and just search pattern, like an example of one that quite a few pop up, but one that I've just recently, where did it go? You can just search pattern. And there's some cute ones that you can use. This one right here, it's really pretty. It makes a great section divider, and I can just do that consistently.
Which one is that? I can't see.
I just searched stock pattern and went with, just typed the word pattern.
I was just saying, what's the name of that one?
Oh, I don't know. I just searched.
Okay. It doesn't have a name.
Pattern.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then hit layout. And again, see, I mean, that's really pretty. hit save, and I could just do that consistently across every section divider and be fine. A fourth option now is if you don't want to think about anything and you don't want to make decisions for like fonts, you don't want to have to pick out section dividers. If you go under more and go to themes, there's these themes here come with, they have a cover which you could switch out. But this theme right here has beautiful fonts and it has really pretty full bleed section dividers. So if you want to be really quick, just take a look at that. I'm not going to do it right now just because we're running up on time, but all you have to do is hit save. Hey, George. Everything
Hi,
good?
I have a quick question.
Okay, George. George, give me 2 seconds. I promise I'm going to answer it. We're coming up on the hour, so I want to make sure to get the last information, and then I have to go before I have to go get my little ones. So I will stay and answer questions. Okay. All right. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. That kind of goes over all of our design. I do want to take a quick moment and share with you guys a few other things, and then we're going to go straight into Q&A, and I can answer all things cookbooks, all things design. But I know in my last cookbook camp, I told you guys I'm a mom, so I know the importance of bribing you. So we have a really fun bribe. We have a really fun something for you guys to do. If you get this checklist and print it out, if you don't have a printer, that's okay. Just get a pen and paper and write down what you need to do. Put check marks, take a picture, post it into the Facebook group, and you'll be entered to win a $100 Create My Cookbook gift certificate. You have to do this by Sunday night, and Heidi's going to do a drawing on Monday. So if you're not in the group, make sure you're in the group. This will all be in the replay email. Get the checklist, print it out or write it down, and then make sure to do your homework this weekend. Go through it, make sure you got your cover, do your check marks, then take a picture of it and enter it on the group. There's your fun bribe for the camp. One other thing that I want to show you guys that will be super helpful is I want to show you a service called We Review It. And if you check your email, there will be a fun little prize for that as well. So you're working on your cookbook, and if you want another set of eyes, you want a designer or someone on our team who looks at all these cookbooks to flip through your book and make sure everything looks good, make sure you don't have things overflowing, there's a service. If you go to preview and order, and I know I have a page that I've got to fix. Let me go fix it really quick. Okay. Go to preview and order. Go ahead and preview. Go ahead and generate your proofs. And the cool thing about this is you don't have to be done. You don't have to be, you just want to see what they look like. You can do this at any time. You can generate your proofs. You can even print them out at home. You can make edits, and then you can regenerate. I've already talked about paper in our last one, but I will, if anybody has questions during the Q&A, I'll go through that. Go ahead, generate your proofs. And then what you're going to see while this is generating is there's going to be, once they're generated, sorry, guys. My internet takes just a second. Okay.
Is that a thing you can only do like once, generate your cookbook, or
Oh,
you
no,
can?
ma'am. You can generate them as many times as you want. Honestly, we encourage you to generate them and take a look at them, because these are the files that we're going to print the book from. And so you can, you yourself can take a look at them and, check the cover. I'll go ahead and pull this up here to show you what you're looking for. For example, I should go in and add that image to the back of my book so that it's nice and consistent. I can check the spine. if you wanted, someone asked all this in the chat earlier, if you want your your text centered, see this X? That's going to be the center of the book. So I purposely kind of wanted it off-centered here, and it's fine. But if you are somebody who wanted it centered, make sure you have it between the X. You're wanting to look for, see how the purple, the bleed? This is that what we talked about. You want the image to go all the way to the edge, but you don't want to cut off any faces. We don't want Uncle Bob over here with being wrapped around the book, but we want him over here. So make sure it goes all the way to the edge, but make sure we're not cutting off any faces. Let's see. All right, so here we got it up. If you want a second opinion and you've generated your proofs, you can hit the learn more, and what's going to happen is it's going to send these proofs over, and someone from our team, either Carly or someone from our design team, will take a look at it. They're going to go through your cover. They're going to go through your book and make sure that there's nothing falling off. They will look at the images to make sure that there is no DPI issues with your photo. If there are any issues, they're going to create you a custom video and tell you exactly how to fix it. They're going to say, hey, I looked at your cover and it looks like your text off center. Here's how to fix it. Or your image is blurry, and I would suggest either making it smaller or going with a different image. They will look through all of that for you and send you a video. You don't have to wait till you're ordering. You can do that at any time. And so just for campers, just for people here today, in your email, you will get a promotion code for half off. So that will come in your email. That will be good through next week. And so you don't have to be done with your book to have someone review it. But yeah, all right, guys, we are past the 1 hour mark. We're going to go into Q&A. I'm going to stay here for 30 more minutes. I'm going to answer questions. We're going to dig more into books. If you need to go, thank you. I'm going to continue to record so that when I send the replay, you guys will have it, but thank you. Tomorrow you will get an email with a survey. I'm being very serious. It's anonymous. Please fill it out. I do read it. We read it. We make sure that, we take what you say and apply it so we can make it better for each group of people who are working on their books, because this is such an important project, everyone. Like, these are it's a project that lives for generations. So thank you. All right, guys, going into Q&A. Oh, thanks, Connie. Thanks, Debbie. All right, Linda, did I answer your questions? Are you good? You're good. All right, Connie, I see you. I think she might be. Are you ready? Sorry, I didn't mean to catch you when you were moving your chair. Are you good?
Yeah, the question that I have is for sections. I have for baking, I have a section on baking, but I also have Christmas baking. Can you have subsections?
Oh, so I would just do 2 different section dividers, but I know what you're talking about, because like I have desserts, but then I put candy in a different section. Because I had so many candy recipes and it really felt like it needed to be 2. So I would just do 2 sections, do desserts and then do Christmas desserts. And I would just put them right beside each other.
Right. Okay. And the same like with desserts. I mean, you can have cakes, you can have pies, you can have,
Exactly. And I've seen people, because a lot of people, if people have really, really large collections of recipes, what I've seen is people will do there are people with hundreds and hundreds of recipes. They'll do 2 volumes and they'll do like a savory book and a sweet book. And that sweet book will have like cookies, cakes, candies, pies. Like they really broke it out. For me, and like an example, this is just my family, meaning my husband and I, and when my daughter helps cook. These are just ours. We only have like 30 recipes in it. And so we just have desserts because there's like 5. But for my mother-in-law and my mom, they have really good collections. So I've broke it out for them.
Okay. And then the other question, what do you recommend? I was thinking of ordering like a 3-ring binder versus a coil, because maybe down the road I'd like to add some pages.
Yeah.
Does that work out?
So yes, ma'am. I myself love the binder. This is the binder, and it is for that same reason, because I'm still working on my collection. And I want to be able to just pop those in there. If you're doing a binder, let me show, this is a great question. Thank you for asking it. If you're doing a binder, let me give you a quick tidbit. Here we go. So you see I've generated my proofs. I could click them, print them out, review them. If I need to make edits, all I gotta do is hit cancel, make my edits and regenerate my proofs. So if I'm ordering the binder, hit edit. And I want to go down to page numbers. I want to hide those. I don't want them in my book because if I go back in and I'm adding recipes, I just want to be able to pop them into the right section. I don't need the page numbers. So hide this page numbers if you're doing the binder would be my suggestion.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I love the binder. My second favorite, the one I did for my mother-in-law and my mother, is the hardback YRO. Let me stop sharing. It is lay flat. It's really pretty. It has the binder. Kind of reminds me of that book. I don't know. My mom had, it was like a plaid book and I was a kid and it had, it's like a book she used. Goodness. So, but yeah, no, it's a great book
So you can order just the page.
for the binder.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's also one more quick thing, and then George, I'm coming to you. One more quick thing is you can also add, if you're doing like the hardback YRO and so you can't add pages later, but one thing you could do is go to more, go to add write-in pages, maybe add like 5 or 10. Add write-in pages. These are going to be just blank recipe pages that go in the back of your book. So that if you wanted to add recipes later and you just wanted to jot them down. Also, all right, guys, here's my secret. I've been doing this for years. I get the best. One day someone's going to be on this call and hear me, and it's going to be cats out of the bag. For weddings, my favorite gift is I get a picture of the bride and groom and I put it on the front cover and I write recipes for a happy marriage. I put one recipe in from my family and then I fill the rest of the book with blank pages and I gift that to them. I get every wedding, people are like, oh my God, that was the best gift. That was amazing. That was so much fun. It takes me like 5 minutes. So that's like a really quick, easy gift on the side, but it's really fun. All right, George, what can I help you with?
So I put together one version of my book
Yeah.
and I added as many pictures as I could for
Okay.
each recipe.
Okay.
I believe that drives the price up when you print them out. So
Mhm.
my idea was to do a section divider and do a collage of the pictures included in that section. Is there a way to do that?
Okay, so as of right now, there's not a way to do multiple page pictures on a page. I know that's something we're working on, but what you can do, go into canva.com. They have collages, put all those images on a collage and export it as one image and then put it on the section divider, and that works fine.
And that's why I had to do it for my cover book I mentioned earlier on
Oh,
Canva.
because you had multiple images. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah,
I know, makes sense, yeah.
that makes sense. Got it. George, does that answer your question?
I was saying, I think that's what I thought.
Okay,
So,
awesome.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of
And
course.
when you add a picture or a color picture, does that add the cost to the back of the reverse of that page or the facing page or just that one page?
So the way that pricing works is all standard books include up to 50 pages. Doesn't matter if they're black and white or color. If you go over 50, the price of the book is dependent on if that cut page is black and white or if it's color. So if it's 51, then it starts taking into account like the number of black and white pages and the number of color pages. So that's where the pricing, and like a page, for example, this is one page and the back of the page is the second page. Does that make sense? Okay. Candace?
Yes, so I sent a picture in the chat, but I cannot figure out, maybe there's not a way to do this. On the section divider pages, like on my breakfast one, I just sent that as an example. I wanted to move that font like up to the right corner to where you can actually read it. But I didn't know if there was a way to manually do that.
You can go up and down on the section divider. The only other thing that you could do for that is I think, is this a stock image?
It is.
Go in the edit and I'll be super fast. the easiest thing to do, so you don't even have to move it and it stays really consistent, is, oh gosh, sorry. Another quick. Let me go to a page that has something. This one's fun. What's going on? I think my internet's active. They're working on the roads right now. Welcome to New Orleans. If you've never been here, everything's a pothole. But then it makes our internet a little bit laggy sometimes. So there we go. All right. So what you can do, just for like, flip that image so that you're having a little bit more, because I'm looking at it and you have that, that's the bowl, and then you have that little section. But I think if you just turn that image, go to the picture, and if you see right here where there's that little icon, click that. That's a photo editor. And you should just be able to turn that image, see how, and if you turned it, you'd have more blank space right there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Hey, Roxanne, what can I help you with?
Yes, can you put more than two recipes on one page?
Right now, yes, ma'am. There's two. You can only do 2 recipes per page. That would be the most.
Okay, all right. And then, can you delete out the dedication page, or does
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. If you don't want a dedication, that's totally fine. What you can do is just flip. Sorry, guys. I've got the Zoom, my people in front of me, and so I'm dragging you guys around. Trying to be mindful though, because someone said that was hard to see. So here's the dedication. If I wanted to get rid of it, just hit that delete button. While I'm here, I'm going to show you guys one other thing. Sometimes your table of contents, you don't have enough pages and you're getting this warning. You just need to add another page. If I wanted to save room, because I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to add another page, I could go to the layouts and do this 2-column layout. So that they're on just one page. And so totally your choice which layout, but that's just a quick note on the table of contents while I'm here. All right, Roxanne, did I answer all your questions?
Yeah, I have one other thing.
Okay.
For the separation sections, there's seem to be like 10 of them that were offered. You maybe talked about this, but I want to add a cookie section. And how do you do that real quick?
Let me show you. So if you want to add any sections, we have some free ideas for you that we've given you. But if I wanted to add a new section, all I have to do is, I think someone said Christmas desserts. I just type it in there and I'm going to say Santa cookie and save. And that is now a section. So if I added it to my book, like using the batch action, it's going to give me that section divider.
Okay, all right. Okay, that is it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, Kristen, did I answer all of your questions or did you still have one?
Yeah, quick one. When you have a 2-page recipe,
Mm-hmm.
the recipe by at the bottom is showing on both pages. Is there a way to get it off of that first page and just have it on the second one?
Go to this page only and hide it on just this page only.
So that's through the edit button on that page?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And then the 2-page recipe, the one that's long that goes on to the second page, you showed the layout to do that. Is there a way to have a picture on one of those pages?
So what you could do, let me think I know what you're saying. Make sure this is why I love Zoom, because you can literally just make sure we're 100% on the same page. Let me grab. All right, I'm gonna bake it really quick and make a recipe really long. All right. So now it's going to tell me I need to continue the recipe. So I'm going to go make sure I have one with the step numbers. Hit save. And I'm going to, if I just click that warning, it's going to say add it. So it's going to add it to the next one. What I can do is hit edit, go to the layout. And now I have, see down here where it says recipe continued and I have the photo. I'm going to use one of those.
Okay.
If you don't, some people don't love the step numbers because they don't want them. But they still want the spaces.
Yeah.
You can hide those. You can go to direction step number and just hide them.
Oh, okay. Cool little tricks. All right.
Absolutely.
While we're there on that
Yeah.
number, can you change the font of those numbers? Like they look really large.
Yeah, let's do that. Great question. Great question. All right, so if I wanted to change the font, first let me put them back. Again, because I'm working on all pages, if I remove it for this one, it's going to remove it for all of them, which is really nice because it makes a nice consistent book. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the step number, and I'm going to bring it down to like a 12. And now it's going to make it smaller.
On just the steps.
Just the step number. Yes,
Okay.
Yep. All right.
And but you can't change the words instructions and ingredients, correct? Those have to stay the same. You can't make it directions and ingredients or something like that.
It doesn't say that on there. Let me share again. Oops. See, it didn't say the word ingredients. It just has them.
Okay, or can you add that? Maybe that was my question.
If you wanted to add it, what you could do is add that as the first thing in your like write the word ingredients if you wanted it in the same directions. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. All right. I've got 10 minutes, guys, and then I'm gonna have an unhappy 3-year-old if I don't go get her. So I'm gonna keep going. Let's see. I'm gonna go to people I see. Who's anybody who I haven't answered a question before? Okay, Belle, back to you.
Okay, this is real quick. On the pictures, if the divider pages, well, your section pages or whatever, if you have a picture on that, is that considered one of your pictures?
If it's on,
like
yes,
when you're purchasing, you know, it tells you you want so many pictures on this book or whatever. Is that considered one of your pictures?
It is. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All right, Carla, did I answer all of your questions? Nope.
Actually, I had a question on pictures from Canva. Is it okay to purchase pictures from Canva and use them in the book if you're just making the book for your own purposes? Or do I have to just check that with Canva, not you guys?
Yeah, check with Canva again when you're uploading an image. You're telling us we have permission to print it. But check the copyright. You know, read that.
Okay, and also like if I'm reprinting lemon ricotta pancakes from the New York Times, it's okay to say it's from the New York Times to credit them.
Definitely want to review that.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Review terms and yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Denise. Did I?
Yeah, no, you're set. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I had to unmute myself. Real quick, I may have missed this. One, when you were trying to print out a preview, maybe I just missed this, but I keep trying to do it, but I have a couple things that I have to fix. So
Are you getting like warning?
Yes.
Got
and
it.
the big thing is my picture on my cover page, but you gave me a good option today by choosing a solid color background and then maybe making my picture smaller and putting it on there. So if I fix that, then I should be able to get the whole preview, because I'm thinking that maybe until I fix that mistake, I cannot.
There are some warnings that will still let you generate. It depends on there's a couple warnings that's like, no, you've got to go fix this. Like if it had something missing.
Oh,
a little trick, if you have, I'm going to trigger a fake warning and I'll show you. I'm going to delete this. So it's going to tell me, hey, you're missing your content. If I go to preview and order and pop through, when I get that warning, I can click it. There's a couple. I think let me grab one that's going to actually design image. So are you getting this?
Yes.
Okay, so it's telling me it's missing. If I double click this, it's going to take me exactly to that page, and I can click the warning and it's saying, hey, you're missing a picture. So I have two options. I can either change the layout to something without a picture, or I can add a picture. And it doesn't matter whichever is better. And now I can generate the proofs. The same when you generate the proofs, that if you're still having some warnings, if you just double click it, it takes you right to it.
Oh, okay. All right. And then the other question is, and maybe you said this and I missed it. I'm sorry if I wasn't paying close attention. When you change the font size on one recipe, are you saying that it will change the font size on all the others?
If the set to all pages, yes, which is makes it so unless it's, let me show you.
Maybe I missed these.
No, it's okay. This is important, and it's a good. So if I change here, if I wanted to change this, if I decided I wanted to go with the Sacramento because I wanted something more scripty, and I have it set to all pages, it's going to edit the title for all the recipe pages in my book, unless that page is set to this page only. Because now it's saying I want this page to match only what I tell it and not the rest of the pages.
Right, right. Okay, so the same, it can be said for your ingredients lists and your steps if you just click that instead of the title, recipe title that you've got highlighted, if you click the other part.
Exactly the same. If I click the ingredient list and I change that font and I hit save and I have it on this page only, it's going to update all the ingredient fonts in my book.
Font and point size, same thing. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Thank you.
All right, guys, I got 5 minutes. Let me see if I can run through. Angie, have I answered a question for you? Are you good?
Yeah, I have two questions. One is I've been using WeType It and I love it. Can you do more than front and back? Like if the recipe is like 3 or 4 pages.
Gotcha. It's meant for front and back.
Okay.
What you could do if you like had a really big recipe is just submit 2, let them type it. It'll come through as 2 recipes, then pop in and just copy and paste it and put them together. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That would be the easiest thing to do, and with those really, really long ones. And because I don't want to type 3 pages.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. That helps. My second question is, can you order like 2 of a certain type of binding and then like 20 of another one that you wanted to maybe give away to family members that were a little less expensive?
That's exactly, I've done that myself. So for my mom, I ordered, and when you generate your food soon, you can do that. I ordered a couple of the hardback YRO for like me, my sister, my brother, and my mom's book. Then like all these cousins started coming out of the woodwork, and I'm originally from Alabama, so there's a lot of cousins. They all got the soft cover perfect bound. So yes, you can do that. And now one thing to note when you're ordering multiple binding styles, make sure you're reviewing your cover and reviewing your contents. It does change a smidge. So you might have, if your picture you may need to adjust, you want to flip through those contents because you want to make sure everything looks nice and the same. So yes, you can do it, but make sure you review both sets of proofs.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right. Carissa, did I say that right?
Yes, you did. Thank you. I was just wondering on the section divider pages, I guess maybe because I used recipes with a picture. How did you get the divider pages a full picture or a full pattern?
So
Sorry,
I'm
I
just
missed
changing
that
the
part.
layout. That's okay. Let me show you really quick. I'm
Okay.
just changing the layout. Let me go to a section divider. And I'm going to hit edit. I'm going to go to layout, and there's the 2 options. I've got the one with the smaller
Layout.
image at the bottom, and then I've got the big full image.
Okay.
The smaller one works great for like a family photo that's kind of busy. The big one for like stock images or patterns, perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I just got caught in the picture versus a layout. So, okay, thank you. Appreciate
Of
it.
course. All right, guys, I got time for probably one more question. Let's see, did anybody make sure I'm no one's missing? Connie. Uh-oh, you're muted, Connie.
Hi, again. Does it matter how many pictures you insert? Does it cost per picture?
Okay, so the pricing of standard books are, you get up to 50 pages in any of the standard books. That's the standard pricing.
Okay.
Okay. Once you hit 51, the price is based off of page count, and it is you can use the calculator on the website. It's based off of black and white and color is a little more expensive. So go to the footer of the page. I'll show you really quick. Just scroll when you go to create my cookbook. Scroll down to the products and personal. And here you can play with the calculator, enter your black and white versus your, it's asking how many pages with photos, because those would be considered colored pages. How many books, because we do offer, if you're ordering over 20 books, there are quantity discounts. So that takes into effect as well. And you can play with this as much as you want. That's the easiest way to get an estimate of how much your book will be.
Can you change that then? Like, let's say I have a 50-page recipe book, but I only want pictures on 20 of those pages. Or do you know what I mean?
Right. So it's
Or
50,
maybe I want
it doesn't matter. It's just this price right here. This includes up to 50 pages. If it's over 50, that's when it starts to affect and change the price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Of course. All right, guys, we are at time. I hope I answered everyone's question. If I didn't, support@createmycookbook.com. If it's a question that's like, if it's a unique question, ask them. If it's another question, pop in the Facebook group, ask it there. 2 parts. You're probably helping someone else. They probably have the same question and now they can answer it. 2, other people who are working on cookbooks will jump in and answer your question really fast. Carly and Heidi work really hard to make sure everything's answered at the end of every day. But it does take them an hour or so to get back sometimes. The Facebook group people are super helpful. And if you see somebody who has a question and you know the answer, help them out. We're all in this project together. It's a great project. Friendly reminder, my bribe, make sure you get your checklist. If you want to be entered, check it out. If you can't print it, just can write you one. There's not a problem with that. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. I appreciate everyone for being here. I don't have the next one scheduled yet, but we will. I will post the theme, what we're doing. And so, yeah, and tonight will be a replay. Tomorrow will be the survey again. Even if you already filled it out, fill it out again. That's what helps us get better. That's what makes sure that we're getting everyone the best information that we can. So thank you for being here. I'm gonna run and get my little monster from school so she can terrorize the living room. And thank you again for being here. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Bye.